Why do I exist? Why do we all exist? What's the purpose? The insignificance of our civilization seemed quite discouraging to me before. Meaning, no matter how much I succeed in life, no matter how great I become, I'm still pretty much nothing. Because we are all pretty much nothing, alone with our planet. So why creating, achieving, or simply doing something if all this has almost no impact, just a few miles above the sea level? And if all this will inevitably perish when the human race eventually demises? A storm in a teacup is really how I sometimes feel about humankind. A storm in a teacup. What made me change my mind is a plaque with a quote by Sidney Smith, which I stumbled upon a few years ago, surprisingly enough, in the San Diego Zoo. It is the greatest of all mistakes to do nothing because you can only do a little. This sent me on a journey full of amazing discoveries, some of which I'm happy to share today. Perhaps the most reassuring one was that our civilization is actually very significant. As microscopic as we are, we make total sense, because without us, nothing makes any sense at all. Literally. Without us, here on this tiny planet, exploring, explaining, and defining, an atom doesn't know it's an atom, and the universe doesn't know it's the universe. We are a source of meaning in this otherwise meaningless, empty space. And as long as we are the only known civilization, we may be the only source of meaning in the entire universe. Finally, after almost 14 billion years. And this immediately puts humankind in the very center of everything, makes us extremely precious, and propels our survival to a task of a cosmic scale. Another inspiring realization came with understanding that we are hopefully not alone and more civilizations exist or will exist. And if so, us not just surviving but truly excelling may become our collective mission. Or, as I phrased it, we, humankind, must set an example for others in the universe. This helps me to put my and our lives into perspective. This gives me and us a powerful and ambitious goal that extends well beyond our humble lifetime. Furthermore, if we become what I believe we can become, a happy, wise, collaborative, and therefore very productive, inventive, and successful team, we may as well survive the end of the Earth, spread around the galaxies, and leave remarkable legacy behind, thus indeed setting an example for others in the universe. Unfortunately, as a human being with 40 plus years of experience in the field, I realize that currently we are pretty far from being exemplary, since our civilization is set up in a very unjust, inefficient, unwise, and sometimes simply stupid way. This by itself may easily become a full-blown talk, so let me just quickly share a few striking instances. Our civilization spends around $2 trillion per year, our planet's so limited resources, on weapons and military, something the only purpose of which is killing ourselves. How absurd is this? Especially when it is estimated that just about 15% of this one annual budget will end AIDS. So we can start saving millions of lives instead of ending them. Or if we reduce our global marketing expenses on just about 10%, this will end world hunger. But perhaps the most preposterous example is segregation, which, despite some progress we made in the recent years, is still so much deeper and wider than it is commonly perceived. I cannot comprehend why our race is so segregated in wealth and lifestyle, if you can at all call these lifestyle. It is painful to realize that members of the same species, one of the most developed species in the universe, while residing on the very same planet, have so different levels of access to basic things like food, water, or healthcare. It seems extremely unfair that somebody gets born with high international status, broad opportunities, privileges, and benefits, while at the very same moment, somebody gets much less lucky. And none of them did anything special or wrong to deserve this tremendous difference. The bottom line is that segregation is still here, and it is still huge. It is also not just about skin color, as it exists on many other levels. Consequently, around 6 million children die annually under the age of 5, and many more under the age of 18, while about 80% of these deaths are from totally preventable and treatable causes. These are many millions of lost lives and their unborn descendants. And at least 3/4 of those who do survive still don't get a fair chance to discover their deep talents and fulfill their true missions. That is, every year we, as a civilization, lose, say, 150 million chances to bring up the next Shakespeare, Marie Curie, or Van Gogh that we all could benefit from greatly. Add here man-made climate change with all its dire consequences, global pollution killing millions annually, wars and other violence costing the global economy around $13 trillion each year, or borders that being removed may easily double gross world product. And you have yourself a pretty clear picture of an inexplicably flawed civilization that is nowhere close to anything to be proud of. Furthermore, many respected thinkers believe we are on a dangerous trajectory and have just a few hundred years left, if nothing changes. So as crazy as this sounds, a few years ago I tasked myself with redesigning our civilization. Naturally, I have neither the intelligence to do it by myself, nor time to cover everything in one short talk. I only hope to ignite the debate, so today I'm going to focus on two major issues: inheritance, and by extension, taxation, that being wisely rethought will become the founding stones of our better tomorrow. In my opinion, the tradition of inheritance, the way it currently functions in our society, is a harmful mistake, which therefore should be rethought. Without going into details, which may easily become another full talk, here are my reasons. Inheritance is unfair. Excessive inheritance spoils us. It prevents us from finding our true life purpose, and consequently makes us less successful and happy than we can be. And it lowers our collective performance as a civilization, because if our society is comprised of much less successful, productive, and efficient members, then our entire society as a whole is much less successful, productive, and efficient. Humankind is much less successful than it can be. A good example to support my point is monarchy, a form of government which basically failed and was generally rejected by the society as inefficient simply because of its fundamental flaw. People without any leadership skills, who were mediocre and some just plain insane, inherited their status and power just because of birth. And the same applies to inheriting wealth, which is just another form of power and much higher opportunities than others, which again is neither fair nor efficient for us, the human race. So what do we do? Well, I think I have an idea. In the very beginning of my thinking process, I made a few key decisions to help me navigate myself through all the thoughts. I told myself to disconnect from the current conditions and imagine the world in the future that is already successfully functioning. That is, I felt that first we needed to determine our point B, and only then develop the best trajectory from point A, as opposed to randomly trying to fix the existing system, which seems to be our current and frankly not very successful approach. Or as Seneca put it, our plans miscarry because they have no aim. When you don't know the harbor you seek, every wind is a headwind. I also came up with 3 founding criteria of designing the framework, which is happiness, fairness, and family spirit, or you can call it teamwork. And so only the ideas that meet all three may be used as building blocks of the new civilization. Empowered by these decisions, I approached the issue of inheritance and made the following conclusion. Whatever we own, through our own efforts or our ancestors, we own only thanks to this planet and this civilization that made our lives possible, gifted us with our talents, brought and provided us with knowledge and opportunities, supplied resources, labor, and most importantly, clients. So as soon as we recognize that we are one dynasty of human beings, one big family, if you will, it will be natural to agree with the idea that once we are done, our possessions should be inherited by all family members, while, of course, knowing that all family members will be taken care of fairly, as they all deserve. With all said above, I invite you to the future, to show how our better civilization works. Just imagine a society that provides equal opportunities to every newborn, with free access to high-quality education, personal development, healthcare. This is because it is fair. We are one big family that does not discriminate anyone. And also because if we are a team, at this moment we cannot possibly know who will become the best scientist, musician, actor, or inventor to push the human race forward. So we have to give a chance to everyone. The key goals of education, which again may easily become another full talk, are similar to Montessori: to help new generations figure out themselves, find their mission, ignite this lifelong passion for learning and growing, eventually become the best and happiest version of themselves. Having prioritized strategic upbringing pretty much above all, we will achieve a completely different quality of the human race, comprised of educated, clever, wise, compassionate, positive, kind, successful individuals, happy and fair team players. Imagine then all people getting equal starting conditions, and first of all, a sizable starting capital to pursue their dreams. You may now choose to establish your own business, buy a share of a business you are passionate about, get hired, paint, write, enjoy life and travel, or all of the above. I also believe in universal basic income to support those who are unable to work or cannot earn enough, but again, this is yet another talk. Imagine now a civilization that functions like a totally liberal model, with free access to the entire global market, free competition, but most importantly, with no taxes collected of any kind for life, thus allowing you to succeed, earn, possess, reinvest, and develop as much as you can, and motivating your constant pursuit of unlimited growth. All in exchange of one simple condition: a final tax of 100%. That is, once your life is over, you give everything back to the society. All your possessions are inherited by humankind and used to finance the next generations, along with all other society needs. Certainly, this is just a very basic framework, and only one of the aspects among many other new principles. But I also believe this is the core foundation of future humankind, a much fairer, happier, and more successful civilization. So the next time you hear this endless grow the pie, divide the pie debate between capitalists and socialists, please think about my humble idea, which to me is a very elegant, natural, and legitimate mix of main ideologies, of everything we were seeking for. On one end, this is total freedom and liberalism, allowing you to succeed, earn, and possess as much as you can, with no taxes collected of any kind, free access to the entire global market, free competition, and constant pursuit of unlimited growth. On the other end, 100% collected at the end of your life when, let's be honest, you cannot care less, as well as equal rights and opportunities, are very socialistic and totally correspond to the spirit of fairness. In fact, this 100% will bring even more in taxes, thus allowing a more prosperous existence and more successful development of the entire race. There is even more money invested into the next generations, even better education, even bigger starting capitals, and so on. I also believe that once implemented, these new principles will create a totally different society and lead to many amazing effects and wonderful quality transformations. Some of which are pretty obvious, such as prompt evening out of welfare across the planet, desegregation, naturally followed by dissolution of borders, as well as significant removal or even elimination of weapons and military, revolutionary breakthroughs in science and technology, dramatic reforms of global government architecture. While many other exciting changes I cannot even predict now, and we will figure them out together as we evolve. Overall, if we were to come up with a tagline to promote ourselves to others in the universe, I would suggest the following: Humankind, great teamwork. In closing, I will need assistance from two deeply respected men, and those I sincerely believe I could be friends with if our lives coincided in space and time. As Martin once said, I have a dream. One day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed that all men are created equal. As much as I love this saying of his, I respectfully disagree in one tiny but crucial part, which now becomes not just his dream, but his and mine. And I honestly believe it is absolutely possible. But if you doubt, if you think I'm a dreamer, then maybe John can help me here. Thank you.